Should we just get into it and talk about what
Let's get
happened
into
with your post? Let's get into it. Yeah. What inspired you to write this tweet in the first place?
Well, what inspired me that led to my suspension, the tweet was me finding out, as others did, that Vice President Kamala Harris was going to be in talks with Bill Clinton about how to empower women and girls. And my brain exploded, as I'm sure many did. Just a man very credibly accused of rape. People on the left don't want to hear it because they can be just as misogynistic and rape culture-y as people on the right or anybody. I don't know what magic the Clintons hold over the world. I am fundamentally confused by it. I don't understand why people don't understand that predators can exist in any skin, any place, anytime. But the tweet was, "This is obscene," at Kamala Harris. And then I went on and I posted a screenshot of the Wikipedia page where it's detailing Bill Clinton's accusers. Paula Jones, he paid off $1 million. These are people that just because they came out and they were vouched for by Republicans. I remember I was young and just pretty disgusted with how these women were treated and through the years. I mean, I feel so bad for them. They know what happened to them. They were there. And so I tweeted a photo of a very well-known British artist, Alison Jackson. I didn't say that it was an artist photo. I just left it up. You know, it was Bill Clinton, a double for Bill Clinton, getting a massage by a comely young woman, you know. And I wanted to drive home the point that, do we think he just stayed on the plane of Epstein's plane? Did he not get off the plane? And I wanted to just connect. Yeah, this is what it probably looked like in effect, and maybe worse, probably worse, right? So it was just connecting because every article I see is he was on the plane 26 times. I'm like, who gets on a plane and just stays on the plane? Is he hanging out on the tarmac the whole time? He's not going there with his buddies? Come on. And I cropped out where Hillary's on the TV. That's a really good one. And so I was suspended, and Twitter said that I had posted an intimate photo.
And this was just the photo of him getting the massage, the art piece. Yeah. Can I find that now? Is that one being like...
Well, by the way, they scrubbed it from Google Images. After
that's what I'm saying. I don't know where it is.
No, they scrubbed it.
Do you have a screenshot of your tweet?
I have it. Oh, and I'd also previously stated that Jack Dorsey had blocked me, which I found funny. I noticed he'd unblocked me. And so I DM'd him. I said, "Hello, sir." And the next day he wrote back, "Hello!" ! And so I wrote back, "I come in peace." And I have not been on Twitter yet today to check and see if he's responded. That is, whatever conversation we have can remain private if we have one. I do want to have a conversation. I want to understand, and I don't want to come in, guns blazing, but there's a fundamental disconnect between what those in power are aiding and abetting in my understanding of reality. And I think there's also a disconnect. They don't understand my motivations and I don't understand theirs. We're simpatico on that piece of it. Right. But I'm tired of being shadow banned. On Facebook, when I put on that I was going to be doing a live post-debate response to the last Trump-Biden debate, my account was deactivated 30 minutes later. Then I complained on Twitter. Then it got reactivated 12 hours later. It's just, and my Instagram number is so suppressed on every single platform. And it is so dull. And I don't get why they'll let somebody, like a young kid that follows me, I think he's 17, or when he was 17, he had his first sexual encounter. The person he had a sexual encounter with posted a full frontal nude photo of this young man on Twitter. It remains on Twitter. He has contacted Twitter support numerous times, and they say, well, you can block him. I believe that's an intimate moment and also like child trafficking, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But not when you post an art photo or have a legitimate point questioning your vice president about why they betray every survivor, about why they betray victims, about why they really do not give a fuck.
Yeah. And also, I mean, Bill Clinton is a public figure as opposed to this young person you're talking about.
Yeah. If you'd like to see some of the disgusting photos people posted of me, they're out there, intimate moments or fake intimate moments as they are, Twitter gave me a reason this time. And how it's funny because every time it's not true. Like when they put out that I was deactivated 3.5 years ago because of posting a private phone number, not true. Right. And the intimate moment, not true. And Facebook just, no. But they have, and I haven't seen this on other people's pages, but if you go to my public Facebook page, Rose McGowan, they have a rating on me. I think 2.2 or 2.4 out of 5.
Whoa. This is weird. Okay, now it's getting really, I just put in Facebook and it's like, sorry, something went wrong. This is making me all paranoid now.
Well, welcome to my life.
Your life is, welcome to your life, I know. Have you encountered people who used to dismiss you as crazy and paranoid who then have come around because they realized through empirical evidence what happened?
Vast amounts of empirical evidence. Yes, that has happened. It happened to me recently, actually. Someone came here from Los Angeles that I just met, and I guess I'd met them once in LA, and he said this was 6 years ago, and I was telling him everything I was doing and how I was going to, and what was being done to me, that I was being stalked. This is while I was writing my book, Brave. I was being stalked. There were flying drones behind my windows. I was being tailed. I found audio recording devices in my house. I had it swept for bugs. The drones would just fly all around every day. My friends are being followed. My then boyfriend broke up with me because he was tired of being followed and shadowed. And they shadowed me. And of course, it turned out that David Boyce, one of the preeminent legal minds of our time, and Bill Clinton, and then later Harvey Weinstein's longtime lawyer, went to Prime Minister Ehud Barak of Israel and asked who he should get to stop Rose McGowan. And he said a company called Black Cube, staffed largely by former Mossad.
Yeah, you can't make it up.
And nobody, I didn't know that at the point. I just knew, and my literary agents at Dupre Miller, this is in New York Times, were secretly working with Weinstein to shut my book down while I was paying them $6,000 a month to shepherd my book out into the world. The lawyer they got me to hire, secretly working with him, bananas. And then later, after they allegedly planted drugs on me, when they were on every time they got me, where I met the literary agent on a plane on the way to a public event, where they got my wallet that disappeared from my bag on my way to a public event, every time. And I hated it when I had to say where I was going and I was contractually obligated to promote something. And I just felt like such a target, but it's like having the shadow world after you. You're hunted and nobody in the world believes what you say. But like for me, I was always very honest way back in the day. I would say at a restaurant, and if I had talked to somebody in the industry and something about Harvey Weinstein came up, usually because they would say stuff to me. I remember a big CIA agent and actors have done this to me. Get any good Weinstein scripts lately? And I would be honest, and I would just say, he's a rapist. This is not funny. How do you know? I am proof. I was there. And I just thought maybe someday somebody would help me. And I realized that help was never going to come, and I was going to have to do it myself.
Do you get like a visceral response? I mean, when you see stuff like that, like Kamala Harris, and it's like what shocks me is just how brazen it is, and how like they don't even know that the optics are bad. Like that's how entitled they are. Like no one even said, Bill, this isn't a good idea, or Kamala, this isn't going to look good.
They don't. They either are incredibly brazen, incredibly ignorant, incredibly delusional, or just don't give a shit. I kind of lean towards the latter because it's kind of like everyone, saying, oh, Epstein's going to be killed. Epstein got killed. And everyone's like, okay, now what? And everyone knows.
It's another thing that it's like really hard to say that without sounding like a conspiracy theorist, but conspiracies happen. First of all they mean is like more than one person doing something. So they happen all the time. It's not a theory when it's reality.
It's my reality. I'm suing 5 people in federal court under a RICO claim that is being reviewed right now, if it can be allowed to go through. And I really hope so, because it will change the way we think of criminal conspiracies. I mean, there was 125 pages of my book, Brave, were stolen before it was published by spies inserted into my life who befriended me, introduced to me by my literary agent, Lexi Lynch. This stuff is just so crazy. But for me, it's Tuesday. And it's a bizarre world, but I don't understand what is wrong with these. Do they have no soul? Have they zero ethics? At what point did they lose it? Did they ever have it? It's honestly confounding to me, and I know it's confounding to many people.
Yeah. And it's interesting because you brought up earlier, you said, I don't know what kind of magic the Clintons have or what, superpowers they have. I think one of the best things that ever happened to them was the legit vast right-wing conspiracy against them. And this is what it is, like their get out of jail free card, because there were right-wing people who had crazy theories about them that weren't true, about like killing cats or Vince Foster. And then what happens is whenever there's actual criticism, they just use that as a shield. And that's, there was visceral misogyny towards Hillary Clinton, and she also right. And that's something that like both things are true at the same time, right? Visceral misogyny, and she enabled a predator. Visceral misogyny and continues to, yeah. And not to mention, stumping for welfare reform, which was terrible for women and children.
While writing her book about helping women and children.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's all, I remember growing up, you have to understand, I was like a diehard Democrat, and I was very pro-Hillary. I voted for her in the primary and then found out it was her spokesperson that called and got the Ronan Farrow and Rich McHugh NBC expose killed with one phone call.
Oh.
That's in his, Ronan devoted about 1.5 to 2 sentences about it. Maybe even he's scared. I'm not sure. But I am not. I introduced Hillary Clinton after finding that out at, I think, Aussie Fest in Central Park. It was like a rock concert for speakers. Very strange. So I'm up there speaking, and they say, before I go on, well, Hillary Clinton, you get to introduce her, Rose. What an honor. I'm like, what an honor. So I see her in the wings. I have the microphone. The last thing I say to this very loud crowd, and it was a palpable gasp afterwards. I said, make no mistake, Harvey Weinstein was Hollywood's cult leader, but he was enabled and protected by the Democratic Party. Welcome, Hillary Clinton. They kept me apart from her after that and wouldn't let me get my bag out of the back room. And then as I was walking out of Central Park, I see this black sedan with the bulletproof windows go by me. And I see the outline of her hair. I see her outline just go.
That's actually a good Hillary face.
I don't mind being a needle in their side, a thorn in the side, whatever it is. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a realist. They've done a lot of really bad things, deeply, deeply disturbing things, and they continue to do so under the guise of being good. For instance, and it's amazing how many of the Democrats I remember when I was a Democrat, not a Republican. Everybody don't freak out. I don't believe in cults. So there you go. No thanks. There has to be more. So better options someday. The thing of it is, what I don't understand about Jack Dorsey and Twitter, I get that they walk the halls of power and they're always walking on eggshells and that they go and give these bogus answers to the Senate, him and Zuckerberg and the Google dudes. I just don't. I find myself agreeing with Justice Clarence Thomas, which
I know.
I completely agree with his take that it is common carriers, that this power should not be solely in tech bros' hands.
Yeah, they're not going to save us.
Do we think Zuckerberg has he's the exact wrong person. He changed the way we all speak and communicate. And he's literally and he did it because he couldn't talk to girls at Yale or Harvard. At Harvard and rated them, all these young women that worked their asses off to get there. Now they're a 2 to 10 based on that dork. Come on.
I think a lot of leftists, so I'm not a Democrat, but I am a leftist. And I think a lot of leftists are a little bit naive and reactive, and I get where it comes from, but like I get the urge to have content moderation. But the idea, it's such a paradox. It's like Mark Zuckerberg is terrible. He stokes hatred, which he does because they elevate. It's not that they're hands off with content. It's that they actually, promote divisive and hateful content. And they shouldn't be doing that. But the idea that you want him to choose stuff is makes no sense.
What do you think about his emotional IQ?
Right.
You and I can talk. We don't have whatever issues he seems to have or had or whatever.
What you don't know about me is that I started my career rating boys in my college.
Ha! I mean, everyone's got to have a hobby.
Yeah, it's true.
But somebody that cannot communicate, change the way we all communicate.
It's pretty sordid.
And then they put Martha Stewart in jail for lying. See, we're hard on white collar crime for lying, perjuring herself. But I allege that these tech guys do it every time they go to the Senate.
Yeah.
Or speak in front of Congress, which I believe is also illegal.